Okay, so today what we're going to talk about are the laws of exponents. So we are into a new unit. We're into our exponential unit. Okay, so I'd like you to put me on pause and do the try this, and then come back and check your answers. Okay, so for the first one, so we have x to the fifth times x to the third is x to the eighth power. So remember, when we multiply same bases, we add the exponents. X to the fifth divided by x to the third for number 2 is x to the second. So remember, when we divide, we subtract the exponents. X to the fifth to the third power, when you have a power to a power, an exponent raised to another exponent, you multiply the exponent, so it's x to the 15th power. Number 4, we have xy raised to the third power. So this is power of the quotient, power of the product, sorry. So since we're multiplying, each thing on the inside gets that exponent. So it would be x to the third, y to the third. Number 5 is power of the product, because we're dividing and raise the whole thing to the exponent of 3. So each thing on the inside gets that exponent of 3. So it's x to the third divided by y to the third. Okay, so let's write down those rules. So the rule for x to the a times x to the b, when you multiply same bases, you add the exponent. So this would be x to the a plus b power. Number 2, when we divide x to the a divided by x to the b is x to the a minus b power, subtract the exponents. 3, when you have a power to a power, x to the a raised to the b power is x to the a times b. And we have power of the product, so we have x to the b, y to the c raised to the a power is x to the ab, y to the ac power. All right, power of the quotient, xy raised to the a power is x to the a over y to the a. X to the 0 power, x to the negative a, is equal to 1 over x to the a power. So when you have a negative exponent, it goes into the denominator and becomes a positive exponent. And when I have x divided by y raised to the negative a power, so that is x to the negative a, y to the negative a. So I want to make the exponents positive. So the numerator, this goes into the denominator, this goes into the numerator, and becomes y to the a over x to the a. And one other thing is the 0 exponent. So put a star on your paper, anything raised to the 0 exponent equals 1. So x to the 0 power is equal to 1. Anything to the 0 power is equal to 1. All right, so let's take a look at the examples. Okay, so number 1, I have 2, in parentheses, 2a to the 9th, b to the 8th, over 5ab raised to the second power. So I have everything in here is multiplying. So I have 2 to the second, a to the 9th to the second, b to the 8th to the second, over 5 to the second, a to the first to the second, b to the first to the second power. All right, so I'm simplifying, and when I'm done, I don't want any negative exponents. So 2 squared is 4. We have a to the 9th to the second is a to the 18th. B to the 8th to the second is b to the 16th. Over 5 squared is 25. A to the first to the second is a to the second, and b to the first to the second is b to the second. All right, so now I want to simplify a little bit more. So there's nothing to do with 4 and 25. So 4 is going to stay in the numerator. 25 will stay in the denominator. Dividing same bases, a to the 18th divided by a to the second is a to the, subtract the exponents, 16. And b to the 16th divided by b to the second, subtract the exponents, is b to the 14th. So that would be my final answer. All right, so let's take a look at number 2. Okay, so number 2 I have 3 to the 0 power is 1. So, and then I have a to the negative 2, and that's going to go into the denominator. So it'd be 1 over a squared. All right, let's take a look at 3. So I have 6 to the negative 3 over b to the 4th to the negative 3. So I have 6 to the negative 3 over b to the negative 12. So to make this positive, the exponent positive goes in the denominator. This become positive, goes in the numerator. So it's b to the 12th over 6 to the 3rd. 6 to the 3rd is 212. So it's b to the 12th over 216. Sorry, I said 6 to the 3rd is 212. It's actually 216. Okay, so let's flip it over and take a look at the back. Okay, so number 4. So notice the 3 is on the outside of the parentheses, so only what's on the inside of the parentheses gets that negative 4 power. So I have 3 2 to the negative 4, a to the 4th to the negative 4, b to the 1st to the negative 4. So I have 3. Nothing's going on with 3. So I have 3 times 2 to the negative 4th, a to the negative 16th, b to the negative 4. All my bases with those negative exponents go into denominator. So it's 3 over 2 to the 4th, a to the 16th, b to the 4th. 2 to the 4th power is 16. So it's 3 over 16, a to the 16, b to the 4th. Okay, so let's take a look at 5. Okay, so that whole thing, that entire fraction is raised to the negative 3rd power. So it is negative 3, sorry, not negative 3, positive 3. 3 to the negative 3rd power. X to the negative 2 to the negative 3rd power. B to the 9th to the negative 3rd power over 2 to the negative 3rd power. All right, so I have 3 to the negative 3, x to the 6, b to the negative 27 over 2 to the negative 3. So the negative that's in the denominator goes to the numerator, and the negatives that are in the numerator go into the denominator. So it's 2 to the 3rd, x to the 6, over 3 to the 3rd, b to the 2nd. 2 to the 3rd is 8, so I have 8x to the 6, over 27b to the, actually it should be 27. I don't know. I don't know if I said 27 here, sorry. So that should be 27. So it's b to the 27. Okay, so let's take a look at number 6. So these just take a lot of practice to get used to them. All right, so the only thing that's being raised to the negative 3rd power is everything that's in the denominator. So I have 2 over 3 to the negative 3, a to the 2nd to the negative 3, b to the 1st to the negative 3. So that's 2 over 3 to the negative 3, a to the negative 6, b to the negative 3. So everything in the denominator has a negative exponent, so it goes into the numerator. So it's 2 times 3 to the 3rd, a to the 6, b to the 3rd. So 3 to the 3rd, that's 2 times 27. So that's 54, a to the 6, b to the 3rd. Okay, so let's take a look at number 7. Okay, so the only thing being raised in the negative 3rd power is the numerator, but it's everything in the numerator. So let's see, I have 2 to the negative 3, a to the negative 5th to the negative 3, b to the negative 8 to the negative 3 over 8ab. So I have 2 to the negative 3, a to the positive 15. That's an a. To the positive 15. B to the positive 24 over 8ab. All right, so the only thing that has a negative exponent is 2 to the negative third. So that's the only thing that's going to move. It's going to go into the denominator. Okay, so I have a to the 15th, b to the 24th, over 2 to the third, 8ab. 2 to the third is 8. So I have here a to the 15th, b to the 24th, over 8 times 8ab. So now I can multiply 8 times 8. And my a's, I'll subtract the exponents. My b's, I'll subtract the exponents. So a to the 15th divided by a is a to the 14th. B to the 24th divided by b is b to the 23rd over 64. 8 times 8 is 64. Okay, so let's take a look at the last one, number 8. Okay, so you need your calculators for this because I know you guys are loving fractions. All right, so but it is the same rules. All right, so I have everything in the parentheses is being raised to the 1/2 power. So since we're dealing with fractions and exponents, please, 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 when you write a fraction that's an exponent, please make sure it looks like an exponent. Be very careful. Don't write a to the 1/2 power and make it look like this because you're not careful enough with your handwriting. Because that looks like a times 1/2. So it's not. It's a to the 1/2 power. So you have to make sure they look like exponents. All right, so remember when we multiply fractions, you can use your calculator to multiply, but when you multiply fractions, you multiply the numerators, you multiply the denominators. All right, so let's start off with, I have a to the 1/2 raised to the 1/2. B to the second raised to the half. C to the negative 2 raised to the half. Over 4 to the half. A to the 2/3 raised to the half. And B to the negative 1/5 raised to the half. Okay, so in the numerator, so I have a to the half is a to the 1/4. 2 times 1/2 is 1, so that's just b to the first. This is negative 2 times 1/2 is negative 1, so it's c to the negative 1 over 4. Now, we haven't talked about how to actually evaluate 4 to the 1/2 power. So that you could just plug in your calculator, and that actually comes out to be 2. A to the 2/3 raised to the 1/2 is a to the 2/6 power. And b to the negative 1/5 raised to the 1/2 is b to the negative 1/10. Okay, so now, so I'm doing division, so let's subtract the exponents. All right, so I have 2 stays in the denominator. I have a to the 1/2 divided by a to the, this is actually 1/3 now, that reduces. So it's 1/4 minus 1/3. 1/4 minus 1/3 is negative 1 over 12. So it's a to the negative 1/12 power. So it's a to the negative 1/12. And then I have b to the first divided by b to the negative 1/10. So it's 1 minus negative 1/10 is b to the 11 tenths. And then I have c to the negative 1. So I have to take my a and my c, put it into the denominator. So I get here b to the 11 tenths over 2a to the 1/12, c to the first. Okay, so that's it, and we'll practice in class tomorrow. Have a good night.